Have you ever seen a show? Well, let me rephrase that because we have. We have seen movies and shows that lead to either another movie or a show spinoff. We saw that with MCU,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent
Agent of Shield.
Carter.
But what I'm saying is, like, when we saw Black Widow at the end, it was a lead up to the Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
And then we saw another one, I can't remember off the top of my head, that led to a movie.
Ms. Marvel led up into the
Yes,
Marvels.
you're right. Exactly. There you go. Thank you. I totally forgot, but you're right. Right. Ms. Marvel at the ending led to the Marvels. But I was so unaware that Monarch, the Legacy of Monsters, is a complete build-up to Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire.
Oh, yeah.
You have Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, currently streaming on Apple Plus with a current Rotten Tomatoes score of 89% by the critics and 78% by the audience. Let them fight.
You know, I felt like that should have been the line given at one point in the show.
Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm Adon.
where we give a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert. At the moment of this review, soon in the theaters, is Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. You watched the show with me at my house because you don't have Apple TV. I do. And we were watching it. What was it? Thanksgiving, Christmas? That's when it started.
It was a while ago. Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't get to finish it until I recently got Apple TV now and just get through the last 2 episodes, really.
Now, at the end, were you surprised to see that, what we saw?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because I knew the movie was coming out around this time frame. Most of the series, no, I wouldn't have anticipated it because, granted, at the beginning episode, yes, you would suspect because it was on Kong Island at the very, very 1st episode. It kind of goes full circle when you think about it.
Yes, you have right in the beginning. You have John Goodman reprising his role from Skull Island. Him dumping these files into the water,
which I think that was only for the show. I don't think they ever showed that in the movie. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think it's just for the show that they just brought it. So it was kind of cool because I didn't know that either. I just said, oh, wow. I wasn't sure, like, from the previews, all the stuff, that this will be another just tail off side or, not sure if it's a spinoff, what have you. So when I saw him and I saw Skull Island, I thought it was a fun movie and I thought it was done very well. Now, to go real quick, as we mentioned, we have John Goodman reprising his role from Skull Island. Then you have Anna Sui. She's Kate Randa. She's also in the current remake of Shogun playing on FX, which I'm just like, on our review on Roadhouse, the original, and now the revision, as we mentioned, Roadhouse, currently streaming on Amazon Prime, it's like things that we grew up on is now making a resurgence.
Oh, yeah.
Ghostbusters, The Fall Guy coming out.
Beetlejuice.
Correct.
The Crow.
So, yes, everything that we fell in love with, watched growing up, that in the 80s and in the 90s, now we're seeing it again. And like I said, Shogun, which we love the original. We have yet to watch the remake. You have Kiersey Clemons playing May. She was in The Flash, Zack Snyderverse. Ren Watabe playing Kentaro, which is Kate's half-brother. Joe Tippett is Tim. We've seen him in The Morning Show, which is also on Apple TV. And what we have here, which I thought was so cool, we have father and son playing the same character, the young version and the old version. You have Wyatt Russell playing young Lee Shaw and Kurt Russell playing the older Lee Shaw. You also have Mari Yamamoto playing Dr. Keiko Miura, Elisa Losowski. I think I said that wrong.
Losowski.
All right, whatever. Riley Taylor playing Natalia Vertigo. Anders Holm playing young Bill Randa, where John Goodman plays the old Bill Randa. Anders Holm he was part of a comedic trio on Comedy Central, Workaholics, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I think it was called Workaholics.
Takehiro Hira, he was Hiroshi Randa. Kyoko Kudo, that's Imiko, that played the wife of him, or one of the many wives. We also have Tamlin Tomita. We know her from The Karate Kid and from Avatar: The Last Airbender live series. The series is directed by Marzi Amos, Julian Holmes, Hiromi Kamata, Matt Shackman, Andy Gordon. Written, there's several here as well, Mila Belhart, Chris Black, Andrew Koval, Matt Fraction. Matt Fraction? He's a comic book guy.
Yeah, Godzilla MonsterVerse is also heavy in the comic book world.
No, I understand, but Matt Fraction is a known comic book writer. Car Toto Greenfield, Ichiro Honda, Al Letson, Takio Noruta, Amanda Overton, Miriko Maki. So those you have for writers. You finished this 10 episodes. Did you like the series?
For the most part, I did. Yeah, it felt like I think we talked about this before. Like, and when we were watching it, at times it feels a little bit convoluted. Like the story doesn't know where it's going, or the timeline. I think we had issues with the timeline.
We had issues, yes, because they'll jump from the original young explorers to their offspring, if you will.
Yes, but like the funny thing is, like when they jump to the past to tell the stories of the past, it's not like you have a timestamp. Mm-hmm. So some of the stories are like the mother, one of the main scientists, the mother. She was taken out of the picture early on, and then they'll go further back in the past to kind of go back to that moment. It kind of felt like Witcher in that sense, which I like Witcher. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't
exactly. But like it's that kind of feeling.
Unless you know who each character is, then you can figure out what timeline they're in. Because there's no, like you said before, there is no clear distinction besides knowing the characters of when they go to the future or to the past. Mm-hmm. And this is not really the present time that they go to. It's not that present. It takes the furthest it goes up to is 1985.
No,
right?
no, and then it goes to well, yeah. I mean, it goes to 2015.
No, 2015. Excuse me. Did I say what did I say?
85.
Wow, way off. 2015, where it takes place. So this movie or this series, it takes place before Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes.
And I kind of like that. It throws you back to that moment where Godzilla surfaces up in San Francisco.
Yes.
Right before he and Kong fight.
Because it leads up into the Mecha Godzilla and Kong versus Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that company. Exactly. And also we see that it is related to Godzilla versus Kong because we see Kong at the end.
Yes, but time has traveled, so we don't know if that was like right. I think it's right after the Godzilla versus Kong movie is where they come up because he looks older, and then B, while they're in the Underverse, Interstellar is a great movie to understand what happened here. Gravitational pull affects time,
mm-hmm, right? And what feels like 20 minutes in the real world is like 2 years,
potentially,
or even more.
Mm-hmm.
Which was great because I fixed that because in the sense of Shaw, he's supposed to be like in his 90s, but he looks like he's in his 60s or 70s. That makes no sense.
Yeah, we even talked about it. Like Kurt Russell looks good for his age.
And then we find out the reason why is because the younger version of him was in the underworld and like for maybe a week, but then it was like 20 years, 30 years happened.
Which also explains why some of the monsters could live as long as they do. It's not really that they live eternally. It's just that
they go back. They go back there.
They go back there to travel from one space to the other space.
Right.
And
it takes time.
And takes time.
Right. In our world, it's like years. Well, for them, it's probably like moments.
Exactly.
Like for me, I had trouble watching this for many reasons. And it's very shallow.
This is not a hard sell so far, what you're trying to say. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, watching Anasewa and Mari Yamamoto, they're gorgeous. There are two gorgeous women. And watching them, I was like in La La Land.
That was your difficulty? That you couldn't get past how pretty they are?
Yeah, that's how shallow I am. Meaning that I was like, I could just watch them all day. I don't care what's happening in the story. You know, it's just like, fine, show me them.
They're just too damn beautiful. I can't appreciate this. They need to be removed from the series because they're taking away the story.
Now, granted, to me, Dr. Keiko was much more interesting than Kate. Kate was annoying the crap out of me. She plays a lesbian daughter. I don't know why I say lesbian daughter, but she plays a lesbian.
I mean, she is.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, her and her relationship with May, so unnecessary.
I wasn't a fan of May in general.
Me neither.
Yeah.
To me, it was like the women were, besides the doctor.
I like Duval.
She was badass, too. Yes, all the other side characters, besides the doctor, the side characters were, female-wise, much more interesting.
Yeah, like the head of Monarch.
Yeah,
she was interesting too.
Vicious, yeah, and I wish we saw more of her because she was all business.
She was all business, but at the same time, like when she let her guard down, like she seemed like she genuinely wanted to help, but like she's like, there's a clear line with like we can help, but we have a purpose to do. And I can get behind that.
Yeah, but Anna was just like, again, gorgeous woman to watch and look, but her character development was just so.
I would say that her character started out with high potential for me. Like, she had the PTSD from the first Godzilla movie. She's dealing with the trauma of the loss of her father, dealing with the shock of finding her brother, new family, and dealing with that. It's just that there was potential for certain things story-wise to be really good. Mm-hmm. And then, because I'm not going to say she was bad at it. I'm going to say, like, the story for her character was bad for it. I think she did good for what she had.
Yeah, but it was like she was like tough at moments, then scared shitless or other moments.
I think that's a story thing.
But it just, for her, it just seemed out of place on so many times. Mm-hmm. Everyone else seemed like on the straight. Their character didn't change that much. It seemed like they were just.
Well, even like Kentaro, like the brother, his character, I think, had some of the best story arc as far as conversion and turning. Like, he was very kind of self-centered in some ways and very focused in other ways about his family and
about
himself.
Self-centered.
In certain ways, I think he was. Like, he's like, he felt neglected from his father.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can understand that. Him and Kate did, but May felt more self-centered.
Yeah, but May's not family.
No, but I'm saying they felt, but her character felt very self-centered and many times.
Oh, absolutely.
Well as Kate did, and their relationship, the Kate and May relationship, it didn't sit with me, meaning that it did nothing.
They became like new besties.
Yeah, but Kate was having feelings for her. She was like hugging her, holding her, and like this, like as if, where May was Kentaro's woman.
Yeah, well, they were broken up. They were exes.
They broke up. I'm just saying, it didn't work at all, in my opinion. Speaking about Kentaro, for a man who lives in Japan, no Japanese accent, mother accent, father accent. He had zero accent living in Japan all his life.
It's Americanized.
No, you're not. You learn English in Japan. You learn it, yes, but you have that accent.
So you're basically comparing him to Scarlett Johansson.
My issue with her too, as well, that a Russian spy, whatever, born and raised in Russia, has no Russian accent.
And
come on now.
Wait, didn't Elizabeth Olsen also drop her accent after a while?
Well, yeah, and they're saying that like the Black Widow taught Wanda how to get rid of her accent, whatever, which makes no sense because. But anyway, yeah, I just found that really weird. Kid grown up in Japan, where English is the second language.
True.
You should have had an accent. I love Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell's portrayal of young and old Lee Shaw. I thought that was great. I also thought that Anders Holm as young Bill Randa was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed those.
I mean, like I said, everyone else besides Kate and May, in my opinion, were really interesting characters. Kentaro was interesting at many times.
Yeah, like when he went to go in the cold by himself.
Right, to find the fort.
I thought that was messed up. He's like, I'm going to go by myself. No one's going to come. And they're like, no, we're going to go with it. It's like, and he actually did what he said he was going to do. Technically helped them out, and like by doing that, and then like they led up. Shaw led them to the monster in that version. He was going away from it.
Now, do you have a favorite moment or scene? Because I mean, it's 10 episodes. It's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, since I'm on the part about the snow, one of my favorite moments was the snow monster when it first came out. The end of that one episode, and then it attacks
episode 3,
the one where it killed the pilot.
Right, the first major non-Godzilla monster that we see.
That's in current time because they did show the bugs and the bat-like one, and one on the flashlights, flashbacks.
Right. Oh, I forgot also to mention because we like this actor. You like this actor. Let me find him real quick because he's in it. He's also in Peacemaker.
Christopher Hyadol. He played Puckett, right?
Yes, General Puckett. He was awesome.
I like that guy in general because he plays fantastic roles, usually villain types or just assholes.
He was a villain, but he was a villain a-hole in this one as well.
Yes,
a villain in a way. A villain like being like trying to negate what their goal was, trying to like control their Well,
he's trying to control their stuff, but he's like always manipulating something for his gains. Like, and you can tell like when people started dying, that he underneath he still feels like a certain way, but he's always manipulating. And that's not a positive aspect. That's a negative aspect, but
Yeah.
he's just really good at making those roles. Every time he was on the screen, I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining about the car chase in the minivan where they escaping the retirement home. I thought that was funny. Not too many like highlight scenes I thought that were too good. Just like overall, like some of the performances were really great. Like we already talked about that. But what about you?
The brother and sister meet.
That's a good scene. Granted, that's practically the first half of the show, episode one.
No, but not besides that. What I like is because I don't remember if they showed in other Godzilla films, but since Godzilla, he's established that sirens go off to let people know take hiding because Godzilla is about to approach, or there's the potential of Godzilla approaching.
I feel like that's been done in in the Japanese films, in some of their films, because like his character has been around like for sequels.
True, right? But for us in America, in our American version of Godzilla,
I don't think it's ever been done like that.
Right. I just like that, and you see that Kate goes through some
trauma, PTSD.
anxiety. Yeah, anxiety in the sense of being reminded like what happened with her, because she witnessed a school bus of her students just fall off the bridge.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla was just walking and didn't care what he hit. That was just more about her in a sense, her ordeal and why she freaks out.
She has a lot of, I would call it survivor's guilt. Because also, like, I think she lost her girlfriend that day, too. Didn't her girlfriend decide to stay back at the school?
Ex-girlfriend.
Well, the emphasis now.
Well, no, she did die, but she was also, like, they broke up. They just broke up because Kate couldn't commit.
Yeah.
Because we saw her cheating on her girlfriend with another girl.
She's very much like her father.
Yes. Oh, did they establish why he has two wives? Did they ever explain that? Because I don't think they ever explained that.
No, they showed that he fell in love. Like he met her, his second wife when
first wife.
I think it was the second, or maybe first.
Kento's mother.
They showed how he met her. Yes.
Yeah, at Monarch.
Yes.
She was like one of the nurses. We don't see how Kate's mother met, because this guy, he had two coexisting lives, marriages, families in the U.S. and in Japan.
True. Mind you, I and this is what I was also saying, like, I think the way they portrayed it, I think he was more affectionate. Like, he showed more affection and caring towards his American family than to his Japanese family. Because every scene that you see with him and his son, Kento, didn't really seem to be like, they were rough to be together in a room.
But here's the thing. Since he's been like so busy trying to do the research and see where the next monster is going to wake up or come out, how does he have time for two families? Because he's always on the move.
How does anybody have time for two families? That sounds like a lot.
How does anyone have time for one family, let alone two? If they do a season 2,
answer some questions.
He may have more family then.
It's true. I mean, even when
every port, it's like, because there's like every stop, like where Godzilla came out of San Francisco, that's where he has one family. The other one, Japan, that's another family. There's like three other spots. I think it created like a triangle, star, something like that.
Kind of like that.
So he may have family. Yeah, the map. He may have family at each station, which makes no sense because the monsters are always moving unless they're sleeping like Godzilla did in that desert.
Whether or not he had family or not, he's definitely disillusioned about his quest for doing this, because he always had something to say when someone talked to him about it. I'm doing this to prove that my parents weren't crazy. I'm doing this because, well, it's like, how can you bother asking me a question like this right now when the fate of the world is at stake? I'm like, bro, great. You're going to prove your parents aren't crazy by drawing a map. That's not going to save the world from a Godzilla if he decided to say, I want to move in this direction. You know, wherever he goes is destruction. You've just been told your daughter is now deceased. But we can work together, father and son. I'm like, bro, you sound like you lost your mind. Then he comes back to his father. He's like, I think my sister's alive. No, you're wrong. It's impossible. I'm just saying that was the last 2 episodes. Their conversation summarized.
No, true. I get it. But I'm just saying it just felt like he didn't really care for the family, even though he created at least 2 families.
And I'm agreeing with you. He's very disillusioned about like what his purpose is and was. Granted, he had no family majority of his life. Mother was gone, uncle was gone, father died later on. He had more time with his father though, but his father seemed to be obsessed with finding Monster Island.
And he did, or Skull Island. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was just so like I just wish that they focused a little bit more. Like, tell the story of the young family of the younger version, and then like several years later, they show the offsprings, the kids. I don't know. Maybe just
maybe focus on the young story
after
first,
a while,
and then segue into Kurt Russell.
Maybe I don't know. It overall it is not that damaging or hard to follow. Like for me, Witcher, the first season anyway was so hard for me to follow. So like lost, even though I felt lost many a times, and I was distracted many a times because of certain beauties, but I did enjoy it. I like the fact, or I find it funny that all this was a lead up to the Godzilla X Kong.
Fair enough, yeah.
Now, I don't know these characters will make a reprising role because from the trailers I've seen, or trailer, is pretty much the same people from Godzilla versus Kong.
You would think at least there'll be like one cameo from one of the other characters.
They may.
Well, I'm talking about from the movies in the show.
Well, they did. They put John Goodman. That was the only thing that connected from this show into the movies.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, they couldn't really
they put like one more.
maybe they're like one of the technicians that made Mega Godzilla. That would probably have been nice.
Or what's her face from Stranger Things 11? But
no, she's too young. I'm talking about, but she was more like Godzilla, not in the sense of that side, not Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, I guess.
Is this worth a watch to you?
It's worth a watch.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Godzilla and Kong, all that stuff, it's like a popcorn show. It's a great escapism. Granted, you got to pay attention because the back and forth.
A lot of talking, a lot of dialogue. Not many scenes where you see like monsters fighting each other. There's only really like one scene.
Who fought?
Godzilla and the bat at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the briefest of
that made no sense to me. Right. So faux pas, all right? When the young versions find that ship that's on land.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
What am I going to talk about?
The slime inside the ship, and then the one monster that shows up is way too big to even be in the ship. The only thing that I can think of, maybe if they showed another monster, like kind of like Deep Blue Sea, like if there was like a tentacle monster inside the ship that was just living inside there, and then the bat shows up and starts carving up the cargo hull. But the way they portrayed it, it seemed like that bat thing was inside the ship, and it was insanely too big.
And it broke out so easily. It broke out too easily, and then it could fly anywhere. Yeah, it stayed in that island where it could be in Africa, United States. Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Weren't they supposed to be like in Vietnam or something like that? It was like not even Skull Island that they were at. They were like somewhere else.
Well, it was not Vietnam because it was during the World War II days.
Yeah,
it was like in the 40s. So you have,
but it wasn't someplace that was like some off the beaten path mountainous island.
But the ship was on like dry land. It wasn't by the shore.
Yeah.
It was completely on dry land. But again, yes. They go into the ship. His ship, it was Rhonda's ship anyway, originally, because he found his baseball hat and his trunk. The thing is, yes, how does a creature that big able to travel within that ship unless he had it had offsprings? And that's what we're seeing. And those who they are.
Yeah.
Those are the babies
crawling around.
The younglings
which we don't see.
Crawling around. We don't see, but we see a big ass creature bigger than the boat come out. To me, that's like, that's not going to work with me. And especially a flying one that doesn't have to be there unless it's treating the island as like its
nest.
Maybe, but it made no sense that a flying creature is like that.
No, I get it. I mean, it's not like a giant octopus, like where they can squeeze into holes and orifices that are way smaller than his body. What do they call that? A cephalopod?
I don't know.
I'm trying to be technical.
On Rotten Tomatoes, 89% by the critics, 78% by the audience. Where do you see yourself in that?
Solid 85.
What sold me, besides the girls, but you have Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell is awesome. Whatever he's in, he's like you gotta love him. He has that energy, his tempo, his laugh when he laughs. Granted, he's not in the same shape he was in Tango and Cash and Big Trouble in Little China, but he still has that charisma.
You also like Wyatt Russell. I know you did.
Much better than I did from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's definitely. No, Wyatt was great as the young
Russell
character.
Yeah,
but for me, it was Kurt Russell. Dude, the guy's a legend.
It's fair.
But then now Godzilla X Kong. I would love to see who, if anyone does make a cameo. And we know that Kurt Russell's not. He died, or he fell off.
Yeah, he fell off. It was the golden rule: if he doesn't die on screen, he's not dead. He's just trapped there.
Right.
Which,
correct.
Technically, he's like, it just took me a little bit longer and show up several years later to get out.
I can't remember. Did the grandmother stay?
No.
She showed up.
She showed up. She
okay.
Stayed. She stayed because Kurt Russell made sure she was on the raft.
No, I remember. I just can't remember. Like, oh, that's right. She saw her son. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. Hello. And
although that was a cool moment with her with the bow and arrow.
Oh, that was bad. I mean, it was kind of predictable.
Yes. If Kurt Russell survived.
Right. We see Kurt Russell age and stuff like that. Then we see that, especially because also we don't see her after her initial fall in another spot. She falls down and like that was it. Like, what the hell?
So
and then we find her later.
Here's the thing that, and I feel like I have to watch the movie now, but like in Kong versus Godzilla, the whole thing, if I remember correctly, they needed a special ship so they can get to the under Earth or the under space proper. Because if they didn't go through properly, the gravity would essentially kill them. And the only reason why they could, like Godzilla and the others could, is because they're so large or so dense that it didn't crush them. The way they're doing it here in the show is that they're explaining there's a in-between space between the underspace and the Earth. And now, right, and basically they didn't need a ship because they literally just fell through and made it there just fine, which, in essence, when they entered there, they're falling from a sky, which should have killed them by landing.
Correct. But the gravitational pull is different.
But the gravitational pull is different, but it's not like they show them being stronger, jumping on the moon or anything like that.
No, John Carpenter, not John Carpenter, Mars.
Yes.
No, John, so whatever.
So I might be overthinking this. Probably just with the thought alone, just ruined the entire series with the concept of what they just did. Because I'm like,
no.
Now like, I'm thinking that's a huge loophole.
No, I understand. It's different than the movie, but don't forget the technology then is different than the technology that we saw in Godzilla versus Kong.
Well, yeah, but in essence, they didn't need technology. They just needed to jump through.
No, there are some flaws in that. I exactly agree with you. But they didn't know that, right? They didn't know. It just happened.
Yeah.
And then no one knew that because there was no survivors.
And then,
talking about survivors, that one character, holy crap, is he lucky?
Joe Tippett?
Yes. His helicopter crashes and he lives.
He had a building fall on him and he still lived. Like, how's your leg? It hurts slightly. Oh, my guy. It's like, that's the least of your worries. You survived so much.
No, yes, exactly. But I just found, I was like, wow, this guy has it's like a cat, like several lives. All right, guys, that is our series review of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, currently streaming on Apple Plus. Have you seen it? What was your favorite moment? And as always, let us know if you have a show or a movie you would like us to review. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adon.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.